Welcome back to the TribeCast, episode number 4. Hope you guys enjoyed Mayor Rock last week, and our guest has a lot of shoes, big shoes to fill here today.
I know.
But once again, I am one of your co-hosts. I am Derek Gowan.
I'm Zaire Ficklin.
And I'm Peyton Lewis.
And today we have head Mississinawa basketball boys coach, Coach Josh Brooks. Josh, how are you doing today?
Not too bad. Excited to be here.
Thanks for joining us this evening. Look at me.
It's not evening, by the way.
It's not. It's barely even afternoon. It's not even afternoon. It's like 11:45. Well, there you go. Well, let's start in just how we always do, kind of some basic information. We're still getting to know you since you just came. This is your first year. So just give us a little bit of background, where you were born, where you grew up, kind of what led you to get to where you are now.
All right. Born at Ball Memorial in Muncie. Grew up for the early years in New York for 7 years. Then Dad took another job back here in Indiana, so we moved back to Upland. Grew up in Upland, went to Eastbrook High School, unfortunately. And then went to Taylor University to play hoops at Taylor. Graduated from Taylor with elementary, middle school social studies degree. Went on to Francis Slocum Elementary School, Marion Community Schools. Taught 4th grade for like 12 years. Wow. Then was an assistant principal at Kendall Elementary School for 4. And then last year was the assistant director of special education in Marion Schools. And then throughout that time, coached freshman basketball, varsity assistant, JV, was even the assistant coach at Taylor University for a few years in there. But most recently was the varsity assistant at Marion High School.
So real quick, you said you were assistant principal at Kendall.
Yes.
Just random topic thought here. Do you know Ethan Evans?
I do know Ethan Evans. He and I actually were connected through teaching. We both taught at Slocum together. Then when I was the assistant principal at Kendall, brought him over, but connected through Taylor as well. So know Ethan pretty well.
We bought the house we're in now was Ethan and Maddie's house, so we are living in their old house.
Love it.
That's just a fun
down
little
the street
fact there. Yep, yeah. Right down the street. We're neighbors,
Essentially, might as well be.
Yeah.
Crazy. Small world.
So you live in Marion?
I do live in Marion.
Oh, my gosh. What a guy.
I know. We're looking currently for anything around the area in Gas City.
Hey,
so
Mayor Rock said he's got something incoming.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need a bigger house. The problem right now is all the houses that are coming on the market aren't big enough for the family.
Well, yeah, like Mayor Rock. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to it yet, but Mayor Rock was talking about how they're planning to build close to 300 houses a year for the next 5 years in Gas City. So
love it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hey,
huge.
Get one of them.
I know, right?
You got it.
All right. I'm down.
So we heard where you went to college. So did you, when you were playing basketball in high school and college, did you know that you wanted to be a coach during that time?
I did. So my dad, who is probably my biggest influence, role model, whatever, just altogether, he's a coach as well. He was an assistant at Taylor on the men's side for a long time, and then is now the head women's basketball coach at Marion University in Indianapolis. Spent many years at Indiana Wesleyan University.
Coach Brooks.
Yep, and won 2 national championships there. So I grew up watching him coach. Obviously loved the game of basketball. Knew I wanted to be a part of that, culture, just all the stuff that happens in basketball. Knew I wanted to be able to continue to be a part of that once I was done playing. So coaching was always kind of on my radar. That was a big reason why I went to Taylor. I played for Coach Patterson, Hall of Fame coach in the NAI in the state of Indiana. That was a big factor for me. Going to Taylor was being able to learn and play underneath him and, be able to hopefully set myself up for, a successful coaching career.
So you'd say your dad and Coach Patterson were big role models of yours going into it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, Dad's had great success. Watching him and seeing how he's kind of built his programs, his defensive, offensive philosophies, have definitely influenced me in the way I coach. Not exactly the same, and I think, people saw it this year as our season, proceeded, and but a lot of different things that I do very similarly to him, and then obviously Coach Patterson as well.
Well, so you guys had it's your first year coaching here at Mississinawa, and you had a pretty good season. We almost won sectionals. How are you going to be preparing for next season to potentially win sectionals and even more?
Yeah, so, I have talked to our guys. The expectation is to hopefully maintain, and then obviously move forward in, the success we were able to have this year. I think we have the opportunity to do that, have a lot of guys coming back, lost a lot of guys that will miss a lot, but I do feel like we have the talent to be able to, come back and hopefully win conference again. Hopefully have a chance to win Grant 4 again. And then depending, it'll be interesting to see because we have new realignment for sectional to see what our pairings are, where it's at, all those things. But go fight for a sectional championship again. So today actually we start our off-season workouts, our limited contact. We get to go 2 days a week. And we're going to do a lot of individual work, player development stuff. This year, I felt like we struggled to score the ball. I felt like defensively we were very, very good, probably above average, and that's, the reason for the success we were able to have this year. We were able to stop people when we needed to so that, we're able to come out on top, but we're going to have to be able to score the ball better if we want to go and win a sectional and do the things that we'd like to do. So, starting tonight and then 2 days a week, we're going to, have our limited contact workouts where we're working on, individual skill, ball handling, shooting, work some one-on-one skill, two-on-two scenario stuff. But, hopefully developing, our current players, be better and improve their games. And, hopefully then that leads to on-court production where we're able to score at a higher clip and then maintain, our status defensively.
Yeah, so I want to get into some Mississinawa basketball stuff from this year, just your experience. But I want to backtrack for 1 second to get to know a little bit more about you because I know this. I don't know if they know this, but your wife is also a pretty good baller too, isn't she?
Yes. So my wife played for my dad at Indiana Wesleyan. That's how we met. But she was an All-American at Indiana Wesleyan for 1 or maybe 2 years. But, yeah, no, she's a baller. She understands the game. She knows the game. She's the varsity assistant girls coach here as well. So a lot of basketball in our house. So she helps me, gives me her thoughts, and, it's good to be able to bounce back and forth.
You had told me one time you think she holds a record at IWU, right?
I think she does. I think she may still hold the most threes made in a season. So, she can shoot it, and she can shoot it deep. So she was Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
Who's winning 1v1?
1v1, I win. Shooting horse, it goes back and forth. We did have like a running tally while we were dating. We'd play horse and pig a lot. And,
back when you guys were both in your prime.
Both when we were both in our prime.
Before the back started hurting?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I was going to say, because we tried to play basketball earlier this year, and you kind of bailed on me.
I did, yeah. I'm old now. I'm retired for sure. So
you
hooping is not my thing anymore. I can coach and shoot, but that's about it.
You don't mix it up at practice at all?
No, I do not. I let May and Wilson do that. That's their gig.
Well, let's talk about this season a little bit before we kind of get into the future. But this season, you guys, you didn't, but our team won 6 games last season. And this year, I think your final record was, well, you can tell me what your final record was because I can't remember. It was like 15 and.
Well, we were 16-8.
16-8.
This year.
Okay.
Yep. Last year they won 6 games, I think.
Yeah.
So
Significant
marked improvement.
Almost reverse.
Significant improvement. So obviously a lot of that has to do with your coaching and your assistant coaches and but talk about the kids and just their buy-in to what, because I mean, they've come from Coach Reed, right, wrong, or indifferent, however you feel about him, it doesn't really matter, but they're coming to you and it's a whole different philosophy change. So talk about the kids and their buy-in kind of with this year.
Yeah, I can't give our guys enough credit, and I've tried to give them credit at every opportunity. But day one, I think Preston texted me, called me, whatever, and was ready to go. When are we getting in the gym? What are we going to do moving forward? How can I be ready to play? And the rest of the guys, just kind of filtered in right behind that as soon as I was able to reach out and communicate with them. But it started day one in the summer. We did essentially practice-style workouts in the summer to try to get stuff installed and, hit the ground running as fast as possible. And the guys bought in right away. Tried to do their best to do what I was asking and, play together and do all those things. And, this summer we were able to go to the Super Hoops shootout at Indiana Wesleyan. And I really feel like that tournament, whatever, we were able to win it, which is a summer tournament, which isn't a huge deal, but I felt like that was kind of the point where the guys started to believe in what we were trying to do. That, they saw if we can execute and do things the way Coach Brooks is asking us to, we have a chance to maybe win some games and be successful. So I do feel like, at that point in the summer, the buy-in really was overwhelming, I guess, for all the guys. And, I think there was a new excitement for the opportunity for this season and expectations and, what we were trying to do moving forward. And, I think because of, that, we were able to, come into the season and be pretty successful.
Sure. And I tell you what, the work, it paid off a lot. Just watching even some of the same guys, the difference between last year and next year, it's really palpable. And just with this group of guys, I know you've been coaching a long time. Would you say that your best game is ahead of you, or do you think you've already had it?
I hope our best basketball is ahead of us. We had some really, really good games, though, this season. One in particular that stands out to me is the Grant Ford Championship game against Oak Hill. I felt like we were playing pretty solid basketball. Oak Hill got up on us in the first half, maybe beginning of second quarter. We switched our defenses up, and, the guys got after it. And, we were able to, I feel like it was like a 19-point run or something crazy like that, where we were able to go into the locker room with a lead and, then kind of close the doors. The most points we scored all season. We scored in the 70s, which was a rarity for us this year. But that game was a game that if we can, get to that place and emulate, the way we defended, the way we were able to score, the way we shared the ball as a team, I think we'll be able to win a lot of games into the future. So that is definitely a game that, for me personally is kind of earmarked, and one that I've gone back and watched a few different times to kind of try to see what we were able to do and how we did it, so that maybe we can emulate that a little bit more moving forward.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about some of your highs this season, but what do you think was the hardest challenge to overcome this season, or a barrier that you made it past?
I think maybe the biggest challenge was our lapel game. It happened early-ish on in the season where we, we're feeling.
That was a fun game.
We were feeling confident in who we were as a team. We felt like we had some pretty positive momentum. Had won a handful of games. I think this was maybe game 6 in the season, and they came out and just punched us in the mouth, as it were. And, we tried to fight. I don't feel like we ever this season rolled over and gave up. But we just weren't able to respond and get the stops and the scores that we, had been able to up until that point. And it was a hard loss. We definitely felt it emotionally, physically, because they're a big, strong team. So I feel like that was maybe a low point, maybe as low as we got in the season. But, again, kudos to our guys and their response to that. I felt like had good conversations after the game and the practices following that game that really, allowed us to get better. A lot of coaches would say losses aren't bad unless you don't learn from them. And I really felt like after that game, the guys kind of came back with a renewed vigor, a little bit of a better sense of what we're trying to do, and kind of use that game as a springboard into the rest of the season. But that was definitely a hard loss, one that I think our guys felt because it was a bad loss, and we felt like we were better than what we showed in that game. And, the guys did a good job of responding and trying to, be better because of it.
Yeah, so a couple quick things before I want to talk about a guy that's close to all of our hearts, but you'll know what I mean here in a minute. One question: do you enjoy being a second half team?
It is not my favorite, but as long as we continue to win, I'll take it. But we definitely did. For whatever reason, and we tried to start games multiple different ways to try to help get our guys kick-started. But, we were definitely let's be down at 5 at halftime but feel good at where we were at and then just be able to turn it on in the second or third quarter, second half, and come back and make things interesting. And, I think our plus-minus, our offensive and defensive, averages were, equal or less than winning. Just because that we were a second-half team and we were able to win a lot of close games late. So
I'll tell you, as a fan, it's horrible.
No, as a coach, it's horrible.
As a fan.
I told the guys, I would love to just be able to win a game going away. Where I
It'd
could
be
just
so
sit
nice.
in the second half and enjoy the game and coach and do that. But,
Even the game against Owen in the first half kind of felt like, okay, this should be a lot
for sure
worse than it should be.
Yeah, for whatever reason. Again, we struggled to score some this year. So I think that's some of it. Our offense just would always get going late, or guys would decide they're going to try to score later in the game. But, yeah, definitely a second-half team.
Okay, so my next quick question before we get to the guy. Are you I hear it all the time in sports, and everybody has either you love it or you hate it. Are you a moral victory kind of guy? Your team loses a bad game or you fought hard but you still lost. Are you one that believes in moral victories for your team?
Yeah, I would say I am. That can be, I guess. And I think it depends on the makeup of the team, kind of where you're at with your roster. So for us in year one, for me, early on, even the Marion game in game one, which we felt like if we played well, we could win.
You close had a chance to win.
Yeah, we had a chance, a lot of chances to win, led a lot of the game, but we walk away with a loss, but I feel like that's a moral victory again. Hey, man, we went into Marion against the team that, should have been a very, very good team, was a good team. Record maybe didn't show it on the season, and had a chance to win. Maybe a play here or there late, changes things. What we're doing is limited because it's year one, but I would say that's like a moral victory because, year one, trying to install and do those types of things, allows for those moral victories, I guess. Now in year two, year three, when you have more of the install in and it's more expectations maybe higher, I feel like that's when those moral victory things are maybe a little bit less because, the expectations are higher and we're supposed to go in and win, X, Y, and Z. And when those things don't happen, maybe it's a little bit less of that moral victory. But, this season I felt like we had a few of those.
Okay, so we'll get to the guy that touches all of our hearts. We love this kid dearly. And his name is Jesse Simpkins. Okay, so we're going to get here eventually, but Jesse, before we get to the big one, Jesse,
I love you, Jesse.
And you just brought up another game that he had a big shot in. He missed it, but he had a big shot in it. It was the Marion game, first game of the season. We were up by 1 or 2, and he had a wide open shot in the corner. He just happened to miss that one. But Jesse was involved at the center of a lot of big games this year. 3 of them in particular I can think of. The Western game, when he had 24 points, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Maybe 23.
He had 6 3-pointers in that game. The other game, I thought it was lapel, but I couldn't remember. The one where we almost had a fight at the end of the game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the lapel game.
The lapel game
so
when
exciting.
he laid the guy out because he tried to dunk when we were down by 18. And then obviously, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to play it for you right now on the podcast. I'm going to edit it in because it's amazing. The first
game winner.
Maybe the highest point of the season.
Yeah,
honestly.
first round of sectionals.
When I think of
Edit
a
in the
moment this
tackle
season,
if you're
that's
going
what
to
I
edit
think of.
something in.
You want me to edit in the tackle
I
too?
want to see.
Yes.
I can edit in the
Hey,
tackle. I'll edit in the tackle.
Here. You just hit
Yeah, we'll edit in the
Lay it
tackle.
Yep.
Here, let's give 5 seconds for that. All right, cool.
I mean, you could have just paused the video, too.
Nope, that's the tackle.
we got
Forget about it.
But let's talk about first round of sectionals. I texted you this before we even got the draw. I said, Coach, we always get horrible draws here. Mississippi always seems to draw the best team that we could possibly play in the first round. So we draw Belmont, and Belmont is, on paper, the favorite to win the sectional.
Yep.
They were a very good team.
I think they're ranked top 15.
Yeah, in the state. So they're a very good team, and we played some of our best basketball. We're down with them to the wire. And out of the corner here, Jesse comes and hits a buzzer beater 3 to win the game.
That wasn't even the play, right?
No. So I was going to tell you, walk us through when you're down by 1 or 2 at that point. Walk us through what you're talking about in the huddle and what was the actual play written up, because that was not what it actually was.
Yeah, so, we felt good where we were at. Again, a game where I felt like we played decent from the beginning to end. At least it was kind of nip and tuck. I don't feel like Belmont ever got a huge lead. In the second half, I feel like we were up 7 or 9.
I was going to say, we had like a 9-point lead.
And they switched to zone defense, and it kind of slowed us a little bit, and they were able to come back and then take the lead eventually. And so we get the ball down to, I think it was, and call timeout, sit down in the huddle. I was pretty confident that they were going to go in their zone again. So drew up a set. Kobe Johnson has made plays for everybody and himself all year long. Him and Preston probably our two best playmakers on the team. And so the set, as I had drawn it up in the huddle, was for Preston to catch the ball at the top of the key. Then they would set in their zone because there was a decent amount of time left. I feel like there was 10 seconds, and we needed every second of it, obviously. But the play was for Kobe to enter it. He was always our guy who took it out of bounds, sees the floor really well. Get it into Preston, and then he was going to cut to the middle of the floor with it spaced with shooters on the wings. He cut into the middle, wasn't able to get the ball. So then it was kind of, I believe we were out of timeouts.
Yeah, we were.
And so, it was kind of up to the guys at that point when Kobe didn't get it in the middle. The idea was Kobe get it in the middle, otherwise make a play to tie the game to go to overtime, or you have shooters around you to, be able to dish to. So that didn't happen. I believe we skipped the ball over to Gannon. When that happened, I'm going to be honest, because Gannon wasn't open, because Gannon is a more than capable shooter. But when he wasn't open, I didn't think we were going to get what we wanted shot-wise. But we were able to reverse the ball. Preston did a great job of driving in, drawing 2 defenders, kicking to Jesse. And I don't know what video you'll clip in there, but I'm lined up right behind
I'm playing the one from
Jesse.
the baseline.
Okay. So I'm right behind Jesse as he's letting it go, and it looked good as soon as he let it go. Now, it was deeper than most of the shots Jesse has taken on the year, but looked good. It's who we wanted shooting the shot at the end. Maybe not the way we wanted to get to that point, but the point we wanted to get to, and he was able to knock it down. And again, probably a high point of the season, just as we go into a game where we're maybe not supposed to win, sectional game, tournament game. And so to be able to walk away with a win against, maybe the best team in the sectional at that point, at least going into it, what people thought, felt really good, was great for our guys, happy for our guys, exciting, obviously. Wish it wasn't a sectional game so we could have stormed the floor, do all those types of things. But, definitely blessed to be a part of a fun, exciting, win like that.
And the locker room after that, they let some of us in there.
That was very, very cool. People asked me, and you know what? We're here to have fun. We're here for the kids.
Cheer team got to storm the court. We got to
Okay,
get out
good.
there with
Yeah,
y'all.
I was working.
But
filming
the
game,
admins
so
did a
we
great
all
job of
did.
not letting the students storm
Yes,
the court.
because it could have been in
Could've
the
been a
sectional
technical
tournament.
foul,
Could have been
yeah.
a technical, all those things.
I will say,
So, hey, kudos to everybody in that situation because I think it probably played out the best way it could have.
Yeah.
Guys came into the locker room. We're able to get hyped together in the locker room with this, some of the students and all that. So, again, just a great game, great win, great atmosphere. Probably a high point for sure of the season.
when I saw Jesse take the shot, it was probably the most confident he had ever been taking a shot. It looked like he wanted that shot in that moment, which was really cool. Obviously, then you go on to face off against Northwestern.
Yep.
You beat Northwestern. Had a little extracurriculars there at the end.
Of course.
Because why not? It was a
competitive
sectional,
game,
intense.
back and forth. They slowed it down. It was a game played in the 30s, which,
It was
horrible.
It was
hard to
rough.
watch. If you're not a basketball junkie, it was probably hard to watch. But, a game that, they did a great job coming out, preparing for us, slowing the game down, doing all those things. But, again, our guys being tough, gritty enough to be able to find scores when we need it and, walk away with another big win.
Yeah. ultimately, we end up losing to Peru in the sectional final. They had won back-to-back now. And they actually won regionals as well. They lost in semi-state to the team that ended up winning state. So that was – I don't know if that makes you as a coach feel better. If you lose to the team that, like –
Yeah, I mean –
I don't know.
Yeah,
we
no,
lost to the losers to the winners.
Yeah, I mean, Peru was a very, very good team. A lot of seniors in key positions scoring a lot of points. And obviously, like you said, they'd been there before, and I feel like – that was maybe the X factor of that game. We walk away, I feel like it was a 4-6 point game, a game we feel like we could have maybe won. Didn't shoot the ball very well at all. But again, defensively, we were able to hold them, I think, to their lowest point total. Maybe not all season, but most of the season, and I think definitely in the tournament. But they were able to make a pretty good run, there at the end, like you said, winning regional, going to semi-state. And eventually losing to the state champion. So, it's a game we're disappointed because we felt like we could have won. Maybe we shouldn't have won it. But, again, hats off to Peru, a really good team. And, the season we had was excellent. So it's hard to walk away super, super disappointed because I felt like we were able to, have a good season, be successful, do a lot of things that people didn't expect us to do. And, just again, blessed to, be a part of this community, part of the team, and, have this season.
All right, let's get one more question from you guys before we get into our rapid fire, because I know our rapid fire with Coach Brooks could go any sort of direction. So go ahead. Whoever wants to ask the final question here, go for it.
Do you want to, Zaire?
Sure, yes. So,
all right,
back to individuals, people that you could have on your team, people that you do. What is a hobby that you want your players to have that will benefit them on the court and off? And what is advice you would give to, like, a younger kid trying hard on the basketball team, just trying to make his way?
Yeah. So to answer that first part, hobby, whatever, obviously playing multiple sports is something that, we like for our players to do. I think it's good for them to compete in other arenas. It helps just athleticism, that piece of it, being in the weight room, all those things. The other hobby that may sound odd, and I know a lot of people would maybe like roll their eyes at, I think kids that play like 2K or other video games that have to deal with like the game of basketball that help them understand the game, maybe from a coach's perspective or that point guard perspective where they're having to kind of make reads and understand player movement, where to get the ball.
Help them understand the game better.
Yes, help them understand the game, see the game maybe from a different perspective than what they would as a player on the floor.
You heard it here first,
helpful.
guys. Go play 2K, and you'll be a professional basketball player.
I mean, I feel like Tyrese Halliburton did talk about at some point, like, the reason he is a good passer is because of 2K and that type of thing. So I think there is some merit to, playing those basketball-type video games where, you're seeing the floor doing those types of things.
All right, rapid fire time.
All right. Now?
Yeah, now.
Okay.
Rapid
Were you
fire.
popular in high school?
I would say no. I was friends with everybody, but I wasn't like the cool kid. Didn't have a ton of friends, had a very small circle, played a lot of basketball, which was not the thing to do at Eastbrook. So I would say no, not popular.
What's your favorite Jordan model?
Jordan model. Whew, man, that's a tough one.
What do you got on right now?
Right now I have some Air Maxes on.
Oh, okay. I
So,
thought they were
yeah,
Jordans.
no J's today. Favorite look is the 4.
Oh, okay.
Favorite wear is maybe the 1 low right now.
Okay.
Is where I would say I'm.
Are you
hitting.
are you a dunk fan?
It has to be the right dunk. I feel like the quality of the dunk matters. So like normally the Dunk SB, the like legit skateboard ones, are made of better materials.
They've got like the thicker tongues.
Yeah, the thicker tongue. The leather is normally a little bit thicker, so it's harder to crease them. I feel like it depends on the material and the colorways. So I can be depending. But again, I like the Jordan 1, which is a very similar to the Dunk, maybe a little bit more expensive. But again, I think it's probably because the quality is a little bit higher.
Favorite NBA athlete right now?
NBA athlete right now, Devin Booker is my favorite athlete. Not a big Blue Nation guy at all. Really didn't know Devin in college. My college roommate was an assistant for the Phoenix Suns for a time, so followed them and kind of watched him flourish as a young guy, and love the way he shoots it. Think his shot is one of the prettiest out there. So Devin Booker.
All right. Who's your team in the NBA?
My team in the NBA probably is the Suns just because of following them, but I'm also an Ohio-ish guy, not from Ohio, Dad is, but grew up watching Ohio, so I'm one of those people, and I'm sorry, but I follow LeBron, so kind of wherever he's been,
Oh, I love
You're one of
LeBron.
is the
My
team that I
glorious
follow
king.
as well. So
I
I
was-
would say the Suns, but I also like watching the Lakers because I like watching LeBron.
The GOAT.
I always hated LeBron growing up, just strictly because I'm a Pacers fan.
Yeah, right.
And he would knock us out every year.
I'm
And
a
it's the
Pacers
most
fan and
annoying
I like
thing ever.
LeBron, so.
So
I
When I
always
was a
hated
little
him.
kid and people would ask me, who's your favorite team? I'd be like, who's LeBron playing for?
yeah, that's
'Cause
kind
that's-
of yeah.
Or
so,
the Bulls. If
so
I
since you're a
wanted to-
LeBron fan, are you taking LeBron over MJ?
See, it's hard for me because I can remember watching MJ play and how easy MJ made it look. No, bro, you're cool. It's
Oh.
good. I'm old. I get it. I'm cool with it. And so the way he did about it, so I feel like it's 1A, 1B. I know we do the comparison thing and all that stuff, and like,
I just don't think you can compare anymore.
no, I don't think you
Right,
can. I
it's
think they're
just-
two very different players. They
Yeah.
played in two very different eras of basketball. So I think it's hard to say who's better than the other. So again, love Jordan, love watching him play. I have probably watched more of LeBron, so I'd lean that way. But my wife is definitely an MJ over LeBron guy.
Oh.
So we are a house divided. She has polluted my son as well.
Oh.
Good.
So my son is definitely an MJ over LeBron guy as well.
I'm all
The
about
GOAT.
like the respect the greatness. Like I can respect the 1A, 1B argument.
Yep.
But for me, obviously, LeBron has better stats,
Yep.
like all that kind of stuff. He's played longer than MJ, is
Yep.
what probably people don't realize as well. But that's why he has more points.
Yes.
But anyway,
He has more points than anybody.
he's
Anybody.
the only one that has 40,000
So-
points right now. But
I struggle with all the old heads because they talk about like, these guys aren't as good as what we were. Da, da, da. But that's not
tough of
But that's not how evolution works.
no.
So,
The athletes
I struggle
today
with
are
that side,
significantly
yes.
more
So I
athletic than they
struggle a
were
little
back
bit with
then.
that part of it, but I think it's a 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
Type
I'm
of
just- I
scenario.
just lean-
done with the 90s.
I lean MJ just because of the killer instinct that he has, and like, I don't know. I think he has that extra edge than LeBron does, but that's just me.
Those
But
are intangible things.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I lean MJ.
Can you give us your top 5 NBA players of all time?
Oh goodness,
Dang,
in,
5?
That's-
in no specific order. You
in
don't
no
have to get in
spe-
order.
Okay, in no specific order. That's hard.
LeBron
it
on the
is.
Heat, LeBron on the
You usually have
Lakers,
one
LeBron on
and
the
usually have
Cavs,
one
the
and
first
two
time
pretty
and the
similar
second
across
time.
the board, but
Right.
then
So I think if you're going, gosh, man, on the spot too. That's why it's rapid fire. All right, so we'll go. Obviously, Michael Jordan. I think LeBron's got to be up there as well. I think Kobe's got to be up there. Wilt, I think, has got to be up there.
I'm glad you said that.
And then, like,
You gonna say Kareem then?
I know. So you get Kareem, Big O. Like, there's
Shaq?
a lot of like old. I know, and Shaq definitely deserves to be in that conversation as well. So like, again, respect to all the older generation guys that were able to win a lot of games and were really, really good. That helped revolutionize the game of basketball and the way we play it today. So but I do definitely feel like we lean towards more the current,
Oh,
guys.
100%.
So, I would throw Shaq in there because I don't think anybody maybe has dominated
I
the
was gonna
game
say.
of basketball the way he
They had to
did when he
change the
played
game, yeah.
100%. So, I would probably go Wilt, Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, and Shaq.
You know Shaq's my uncle.
That's just not true.
I don't think you're allowed
He
to
could
lie on a podcast like this. They might shut it down. So,
Right.
So,
redact that. edit
Would
that
you?
out.
I've heard this comparison a lot. Would you say Kobe and MJ are generally the same type of player?
I would say they're similar players for sure. Again, and I know maybe just the way things have all happened with Kobe and his passing and all that stuff, I think a lot of people started to like lean his way a lot.
I was gonna say, does that kick him into the top 5 for most people?
I think some people like maybe Is it romanticize his career a little bit?
I think
of that?
especially with like younger people, like after like he passed, like they don't know as much, and they're just like, oh, Kobe. Like,
Even
They
the
keep
problem is
telling those
younger
Kobe
people didn't
stories.
see the prime Kobe though.
Yeah,
That's
but
the
Kobe
crazy
was really,
thing.
really good. I would say he's different than Jordan. I think he had that intangible edge Jordan did, so I think that's why it's easy for people to say he's like Jordan. His game is similar position, but I would say he's more like LeBron because he had to have that second, third guy in the lineup to be able to go win, which I don't think is
It's a bad thing.
a bad thing necessarily, but he had to have Shaq. He had to have Powell.
MJ had to have Pippen and Rodman.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think similar games. I think mental way they played the game and approached the game very, very similar. And they both had the nasty fadeaway, and they both, similar size. So I think a lot of people trend towards that comparison.
All right, final question here. Another basketball question because
had
you're
a good one.
Okay, you can go after me. All right,
I had a good
you have these 6 players. You have to bench one of them because one of them doesn't get to play. All in the prime of their careers. You ready?
Okay.
MJ, LeBron, Kobe, Shaq, Curry, and KD. Who are you benching?
I'm benching KD.
Yeah, that's easy.
Okay, that's what I was
I'm
thinking
benching
too. I
KD.
thought it was going to be easier, but some people love that.
I saw
snake.
one where instead of KD, they had
I mean, he
Embiid.
could score. He is one of the best scorers maybe in the NBA. But
He needs
I
to
would
brush his
say
hair
He.
before he can be in the top 5.
All right. So I would bench KD.
All right, this is the last question. Go for
Okay,
it.
if you had to pick an NBA player you could be in a fight, who would it be?
I could be in a fight with.
Draymond Green.
You could fight them and win.
You'd
I
have to
could
fight them and win.
I don't know if I could beat any of them and win.
You don't think you got CP3?
I'm
I mean,
going.
There's got to be a guy that's in the NBA
Isaiah Thomas,
that
but
doesn't
not anymore.
that
but
doesn't play.
No, he just got signed.
Isaiah
Okay.
Thomas?
Yeah, no, he got signed for them.
You think you can get him?
No, bro, he do work.
Really?
What about?
I bet he would work a lot of people.
I bet I'm going TJ McConnell.
So I don't think there's anybody I could probably beat in a fight.
I think put me
But
against
what is it with I can't.
Embiid.
This is what I feel like the bus conversations always were for us.
Oh yeah. So
Like,
okay,
who
this
can
is
beat
this
who,
is
who
truly
can
the
fight
final
who,
question.
Like, can't do it.
This is truly the final question.
End
If
them
you
all.
had to pick one person in the NBA to fight with
To
for
fight
your
with.
survival, who are you picking?
I mean, back in the day, I would probably Rasheed Wallace.
Oh,
I feel like he would.
Rashid or Ben, both of those
Or
guys.
Ben, yeah, both of them, either one. Current NBA, probably Draymond because
Draymond
he's
Green,
just
yeah.
an angry dude. I feel like.
I'm picking Embiid, man.
So.
Nah, so you go for his knee. He's done.
I love it. I love Embiid.
Anyway,
final ball.
thanks,
All right.
Coach, so much for joining
Yep.
us on this episode. That'll do it for episode 4. Come back next week. We have current superintendent Leslie Winter
that'll
joining
be
us next week.
Awesome.
She is retiring at the end of the year, so you don't want to miss that podcast.
Yep.
But thanks again, Coach, for joining us,
No, I
and we'll
appreciate it.
see you
Thank
guys
you.
next time
All
on
right,
the
guys.
TribeCast.